And we're live. It's Friday night. I don't normally do a Friday night. I try and normally do a Saturday night, but the sun's shining still. It's light. And, you know, a bit bored, so was looking for something to do. I am once again live on both YouTube and Twitch. I enjoyed doing both last week so much that I thought I'd do them again. And as you can see, I've got the latex gloves on because I'm going to continue painting my Warhammer 40,000 models, my Gaunt's Ghosts. I've got a bit further because I did some painting of them off camera as well, so I've done a bit more to them. So I thought, and it might be, it's looking a bit watery now, but I made myself an iced coffee just to see if I could make one. In my oh, it's a bit watery, but it tastes all right. So I will just move the brushes. I will move my Rough Riders off their makeshift, because they're covering up the paints. So I want them. Oh dear! I've knocked over my Rough Riders. Bear with me. Bear with. If you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm looking for my Rough Riders. I'm missing, I've got 4 of them, and I seem to be missing the 5th. So, bear with me. Oh. Never mind, it will turn up. Sorry about that. It's better to try and be prepared in advance, but these things don't always work out. As we anticipated. Still, as the age-old saying goes, worse things happen at sea. So, anyway, I am live on YouTube, Twitch, and that's about it. I did try and go to stream on... sorry, I'm just getting my brushes together. It would have helped if I got this done sooner, but never mind. Things happen. It would have. I did try to live stream through OBS on Instagram, but they seem to have made the process very complicated. So I will only stream on there once I actually know how it works. However, there we go, there's the Citadel, there's the other brush I'm looking for. And that one. My, I do have a lot of brushes. I think that will be sufficient for this evening. Right. So this evening I am going to finish off Gaunt's Ghost. It's going to be a bit of a ramble. Don't really have anything to discuss, but obviously if you have any sort of questions or comments or anything like that, you know, please do interact. I love to hear from you. I'm actually looking at the Twitch chat at the moment. I do have dual chat up as well, so that I can see both. Just refreshing the chat so I can see it. Yep, I can now see the YouTube chat on my Streamlabs, and I can also see my Twitch chat. So that is, we'll change that to live chat so we can carry on. Good. I want that for sword. Now at the moment I'm basically trying to create a suitable flesh tone. I've sort of created the flesh tone last week that works. What I like about wearing gloves is I can use them to clean up certain things without worrying about getting my fingers dirty. And let me know if you can hear the music in the background. I've got it quite... Oh, there we go. I've got it quite quiet because I don't want it to overpower the background, you know. But I hope you like it. I might just turn this one down a bit because this is a bit more of a rock ballad. There we go. There we go. There we go. And today's goal is to try and finish these Gaunt's Ghost miniatures off. There's still a lot that needs to be done, but I think we can get there. I definitely think we can do it. Or I could paint the bikes. I think we work with what we have and we finish off what we have. So I think for this, a little bit of Doomfire magenta. This is a contrast paint. And what I'm trying to do is just get a rather sort of... Ooh, I like that. That's a pretty decent sort of looking flesh tone. There we go. Where's... brush hose? Ah, there we go. It's a glaze brush, but it's a very small glaze brush. I've got to keep an eye on the... that's the problem, I can't see myself in the screen. If I will only know if I've got any paint on my face from what I see on the screen in front of me. So hopefully it won't be too bad. Bit more water. And of course anything I do, everything I do sort of ends up with a ink wash anyway, so washes I find hide all manner of sins. Painting, if you want to call them that, you know, hide all manner of errors and just neatens them up and makes them look a bit. Because at the moment these aren't looking very tidy, but you know, with a bit of ingenuity, we can tidy them up. So, you know, how's your week been? How, you know, hope you're all doing good and had a good week. It's been a bit hot here in Great Britain, actually. I'm sure anyone who's here watching from Great Britain will concur. It's quite warm at the moment. Thing is, it's not the heat that's the problem I find, it's the humidity. It's the humidity that gets me every time. And yeah, just trying to so obviously if I'm a bit quiet, it's obviously because I'm trying to focus on painting faces and things. And painting Imperial Guard is not like painting Space Marines, because you obviously have to get facial features and tones just right. At least with Space Marines you've got full helmets, unless you decide to. If you look at most of the Space Marines, when I had a Space Marine chapter, they were all helmeted, so I didn't have to worry about painting faces, and it just made life so much easier as an early era painter. And of course, again, I'll go over these with a bit of black paint as well, just to tidy up bits and pieces. There we go. So, but small brushes are really good for. Now for Gaunt himself. And as I say, do, you know, drop by and interact in the chat. I'm just sitting here painting. There are time delays on the chats, I should add, just to allow for ease of access and give everyone a chance of being seen and heard. Right, that's going to need tidying. He's going to need tidying up. Let's have a look. Just needs a bit of tidying up. Bryn Milo looks alright. How about Colin Corbeck? Just tidy up his. Here a bit. There we go. There we go. So yeah, you know, if you've been following me on social media, you know I've been busy with other things, and you know, not just model painting and things like that. I've been sort of busy with the channel, you know, behind the scenes and the background, and creating new ideas and content. But there are going to be some changes on the way to the channel as well, you know. I will make announcements in due course, but at the moment I don't want to say too much because it's complicated. It's very, very complicated. Black Legion contrast, there we go. This is what we want. This is what I want. This should be a... No, that's too solid. I need something to act as a contrast brush. Oh yeah, you'll do. You'll do. Where's my Lamy and medium? Ah, there it is. Oh, excuse me for a sec. What's that? I can't see what it was that fell. There's a lot happening here at the moment, you know. Such is life. Now, you're probably wondering, why am I using Black Legion, which is a black contrast, in comparison to a SWATs. Hello, welcome to the Twitch live stream. I'm also live on YouTube, and this brush is no good for what I wanted to do, so I'm swapping. This might be a better brush. So yeah, as I said, you might be wondering why I'm using Black Legion contrast rather than Still McGaunt's Ghosts. I started painting them last week, and I've done a bit more to them, and I'm just trying to get them sort of looking tabletop worthy for Warhammer 40,000. I'm doing sort of a very, some might call it a speed paint, some might call it other things, but at the moment I'm just trying to sort of See, there's some bits there that need tidying up as well, but I will do them as I go. So I'm just sort of, I'm using contrast paints to sort of capture the oh, that's okay, that's okay. There is a time delay on the system. I haven't fully worked out how Twitch works, so there is a comment time delay. I'll probably do a little bit more to these tonight and then leave them to settle so I can focus on something a bit different. Because these will need tidying up. It's just that by doing these washes it allows me to, by doing the contrast, of course, yeah. I don't know how well the focus is, but that's Colonel Commissar Ibram Gaunt. As I say, I do have photos of them up on my social media, on my Instagram, my Twitter, and also on a number of Discords that I'm part of for... Well, thank you, I appreciate it. As I say, these are nowhere near finished, but I'm gonna sort of, I like to do them in stages and then still work through different... This is actually something quite recent to my streams, because I used to just sort of sit and ramble and it used to just get, even for me, it got boring, and I thought I need something to build up some interest, you know, something that I enjoy doing, and something that, you know, I think other people might be interested in seeing. And I thought, well, you've got your Warhammer 40,000 army, why not focus on getting that painted up? So I thought, you know, why not combine the two ideas? I mean, obviously some of it I will paint off camera, you know, I will probably do a lot of the details off camera and tidy up off camera. These are nowhere near finished. These are metal miniatures. They do a new version of these models in plastic now, and these are nowhere near finished. He should be grey. So at the moment I'm just sort of layering up what the contrast paints will do is it will pick out the finer detail of the models and highlight or low light them depending on how you look at it, and I will be able to sort of add extra layers. So what some people might think of as, you know, look at me having painted the models already and gone, what are you doing, why are you making them darker? It's because obviously I want to pick out all the details and then I can highlight them like that. So I've just made him darker, but it's so I can pick out all the details and then highlight and fix all the other details that need to be done. So I'm going to leave them to dry, and I wish I knew where that other Rough Rider went. Now, normally when we're talking Rough Riders, let me just show you the examples. Now, for anyone who may not be... Well, thank you very much, Swats. I appreciate that. Now, anyone who is unfamiliar with Warhammer 40,000 will not know what a Rough Rider is. In Warhammer 40,000, they are horse cavalry. They are cavalry. So I've got a unit of 5 of these horse riders, which are proper Rough Riders. They come with a explosive lance, a las gun, which is like a laser firing rifle, and a number of other weapons, including a las pistol and a sword. However, I have also got a second unit of Rough Riders, which and again, if you're not familiar with Warhammer 40,000, the base of these are Gene Stealer cults, which are a specific type of army in Warhammer 40k. But my second Rough Rider unit is based upon the Attilan. So I've got my second unit of Rough Riders on bikes. However, their command unit is actually on a quad bike. So I've got a quad bike and 4 of these bikers, although one of them has fallen down somewhere and I'm not sure where they've fallen, but I will find that. That's why I'm trying to see where it is. So I'm going to paint these off camera, the horses, because these are a bit more, I've observed them and they're a bit more complicated to paint because of the way they're built, whereas these are there's the other 2. Oh dear. Sip of the old iced coffee. Didn't do too bad a job of making that. So anyway, I am going to paint up this Rough Rider. Bit of a happy accident with this one though, because his original weapon, which was just a sword, broke off, and I decided to give him something a bit more substantial, so I gave him a orc chopper. Well, no, they're more like axes, but this is definitely a Warhammer orc blade, which I think is very fitting considering my army would probably face orcs at some point, so what better way to show disdain. And this is going to be a lot of fun to paint, so darkening up Colin Corbeck with contrast. I always like to say there is method to my painting techniques. It's not all... it does make sense in the end. It does make sense in the end. Oh. Right, so I think to start off with, I'm going to work on the quad bike, considering he is my lieutenant, and I've also given him a custom made. I actually made. I don't think you can see them really, but the shoulder pads I made for him, customised from broken up Space Marine and Orc shoulder pads, which I thought looked, because they're supposed to be sort of like planetary defence force, so I thought these Rough Riders would have what's available to them, and I thought, well, what better than sort of capturing some Gene Stealer cult vehicles, or, you know, before they fell to the hands of the Gene Stealer cults, and use things like that. So I think for the base I'm going to use Death Corpse Drab, which is like a very dark green. I need my... have I got a base brush? Have I got a base brush? I'm not sure if I still... there we go. There's my base brush. So I am just going to slather on all over, including the stub gun, even though it's not a stub gun in the Gene Stealer, and it wouldn't count as a stub gun in. The thing is, I don't do tournament armies. I do not play tournaments. I'm a casual in-store, you know, I'm someone who does in-store gaming, and also, you know, not that I've played for a long time, but with friends, but this is very much my guard army. No, I need a big brush. Where are you? There we go. So if you're not familiar with me, you know, I'm a YouTuber. I have a YouTube channel that's active. I'm a fantasy fiction story writer. I don't really write fan fiction. I write original fantasy fiction of my own creation. I have my own character. In fact, the name of my username is my lead character, my current lead character, Maximus, and he's probably my favourite character to voice. I am an amateur voice actor as well. Although the voices I do, I actually edit in post-production, because Maximus has a very broad Bristolian accent, but obviously I don't. So really, when he talks, he sounds a bit like that. But of course, in post-production, I actually make his voice a lot deeper than mine. So when you hear it, it is my voice with the accent, but it's far deeper and far more sinister. He's a bit of an anti-hero, really, more than anything. He's not someone you want to get on the wrong side of, and certainly not someone you'd want to meet in a dark alley on a cold, dark winter's night. He is quite a almost unpleasant character, shall we say. If you're wondering about the background music, it's from a website I'm signed up to called epidemicmusic.com, and it's where I get all the music for my YouTube videos now anyway, and to play in the background for my live streams. This is the live stream playlist that I put together, and I sort of built upon this playlist. I mean, there's about 4 days worth of music on this playlist. I've got other playlists as well on there that reflect my content creation, but this is my live stream playlist that's playing. So there's a lot of very sort of 80s vibes to it, and I mean, I'm in, you know, I recently turned 40, so, you know, I know a lot of people say I don't look 40, but I am. Probably, I don't know if I sound 40 or not, but, you know, it's just that thing, really. So, there we go. So there we go. I don't know how well that... The lighting in here is really poor. I hope to eventually get some really good lighting so that, you know, you can see what I'm doing, but at the moment I have to work with what I have. So I'm only going to do the quad bike tonight because the bikes are going to need some extra Oh no, I had this track play last week and it drove me... I need to get rid of this one. Sorry about that, I was just checking something on my other screen. So, we've now got it's so humid in here that this paint is drying within seconds. It's incredible. So next I am going to get... What's the next colour I want? Yeah. That one's a bit watery. Ah, there we go. Ah, that's very watery. That's a nuisance. Oh, okay, Alex, I can... This one is a very quiet track. Hello, by the way, and thank you. It's lovely to see you. So I'm just going to try and find a different... That should be okay now. I don't know if that helps. Oh, there it goes. I'm trying not to knock my brushes over. I'm painting tabletop miniatures for my hobby, and I'm sort of painting and rambling, talking about the future of my content and my channel and possible collabs. You know, I am going to change how I do my collabs in the future. I'm only going to collaborate with people I've already collaborated. So anyone who has featured in a video on my channel in sort of the last year or so will obviously continue to be invited to collaborate, but I will not be doing big call outs because obviously I've not had the sort of outreach that I thought. Well, oh, that's thank you. Yes, it's nice to do these. Actually, I do enjoy going live and chatting, and as I say, I never used to actually do anything sort of on screen. I used to just chat, and it always ended up in awkward silences, and I thought I do need someone. Well, I guess that too, but kind of something to I think I might skip this one because it's got lyrics. There we go. And oh, thank you. Yeah, I was just saying, because I'm on Twitch as well at the moment. I'm streaming live on 2 platforms this evening. I started doing it last week, and I finally figured out how to use Twitch to its full potential, and I finally figured out how to run it so that the very first time I did Twitch, I got trolled really, really badly, and it put me off. And that was about... I haven't been on Twitch for about two years, I think, and I've only just recently got back to doing it, and with the new setup, it's really, really fun to do. Plus, also having some models to paint in my hand. It helps me to focus, because otherwise there'd be long silent pauses which become really awkward, and I don't like that. I don't like giving people that. I mean, obviously we've got the next big collaboration coming up on my channel. If anyone's interested and they still want to contact me about it, please do. Deadline for it is the 12th of August, but I am open to deadline extensions if people do want to take part, but they can't just yet. I won't turn you away. I certainly won't turn you away. Just let me know, and of course you can contact me on all my social media platforms, Instagram, Twitter, where else? Oh, thank you, Alex. I truly appreciate that. You're it's something I enjoy doing, and it allows me to be me, really. As I say, the only time I ever am not who I am is when I'm performing as one of my characters, Maximus, Rafik, Volkov, Boris, Trajan, I mean, you name it, and you're very welcome. You're very welcome indeed. No one. This one's playing a bit on my mind. Anyway, now what was I saying? This track is a bit quiet. I was gonna find my other. Playlist, wasn't I? So I've got another playlist I like to play as well. Let's take a little trip to the desert realm. This is the playlist I actually use when I'm writing all my stories, and I've just been working on some new content that will take us back into the desert realm, into Lord of War and Heartache. Because I absolutely love writing. If there's one thing I really do enjoy, it is writing. Because it gives me a sense of escape. It gives me a sense of being me as well. It really does allow me to No, that's absolutely fine. It's lovely to have you here, Alex. It really is. I appreciate you so much being here. It really means a lot to me. Yeah, I mean, music plays a big part in my inspiration. I listen to a track, and if I think to myself, that's, you know, that sounds like somewhere in my world. I will save it or bookmark it, and music has always been a big influence to me. It is very important to me, and I have always, you know, listened. I've always been very appreciative of music. I don't play any instruments. I don't sing. You know, I'm not a performing artist, but it does influence me greatly. That's the beauty of it. I find that I find most of my inspiration from what I listen to. Now, where's my white paint? I'm gonna use a bit of white paint to sort of base coat the metal paint. What I'm going to be painting is metal because of the way I'm going to be so I'm sort of, you know, I'm sort of taking what comes to mind as my inspiration, and, you know, what triggers my imagination most of all. And I've always been a very creative. I mean, you know, I am autistic, as most people on social media know. I am very, very big advocate for autistic acceptance. And I am, but you know, there are many people who I've met in the past who assume because I'm autistic I'm superb at things like maths and algebraic logic. Not true. Absolutely, I am the least mathematically minded person I know. I'm absolutely dreadful at maths. I'm not sure. And in all honest truth, I was never really, you know, I was never fully considered a mathematical genius at school either. And to be honest with you, I didn't really care. I much rather. My favourite subjects at school actually were history and English. I mean, I did a whole variety of GCSEs. I did. What did I do? History, geography, food technology, math, science double award. What else did I do? I think English literature and English language. The history, geography and food technology were the optional courses I took, and the maths, the science double award and the English were the compulsory. I mean, with history, I will admit I got a bit cocky, because at that age I thought, you know, because I love history so much at that age, I thought I knew it all. I thought I was going to walk the exam, you know. I should have got a C, but I got a D, and I actually got the C for geography rather than history, and I could only get a D for food technology. Basically, I always joke it means I can boil. You know, I know how to boil an egg without burning the water. That's how I look at it. I didn't really care much for food tech, to be honest, but it was something to sort of plug the gap. And I learned a few little cookery tricks. You know, I learned to be creative with cookery. I guess, more than anything. But history has always been a big passion of mine, and I think that's why I went more with writing. I think I went more for fantasy rather than anything other genre as a hobby, because I could throw in sort of inspiration from history, whereas I did dabble with sci-fi for a bit, but sci-fi is so full of rules and sort of regulations on what to write for it, and I thought, no, there's no fun writing sci-fi. With fantasy fiction, you can break the rules. You can still throw in sci-fi elements. You can still create, you can still create all those sort of other things, but still be original. Well, you can be original with sci-fi as well, but the tropes are much more rigid, whereas with fantasy, the sort of ways of creating it are much more open-minded, and I like that. I like that with what I create and write and perform. I can be much more original to and I think this is where this playlist that's playing at the moment comes in as well, because it's full of sort of historically inspired sort of music and sounds, and it's where I don't think I've ever really discussed where a lot of my sort of... when you look at the Ondarian monarchy, you see a lot of medieval, but you also see a bit of Roman influence in there as well. It's not just... Sorry, I'm just clipping away a few rogue paintbrush hairs. Just there we go. And sorry, I keep saying, I have this habit of saying the word repeatedly. Sometimes I think I sound a bit like Fred Dibner, the late great Fred Dibner, who passed away in 2006. Biggest regret in life was I never met him. Trevor! Hello, sir. Hello. I'm talking Lord of War and Heartache, where my inspiration comes from. The playlist that's playing at the moment is the playlist I use when writing. And, where we've already had a track that's taken us to the Desert Realm and back, so... and I'm painting Warhammer 40,000 miniatures as well, so it's... I'm painting a armoured quad bike for my Imperial Guard army, so I'm painting all the bits that are going to be metallic white first to give them like a secondary base coat, so that because I've used a lot of green tones, so I'm kind of, as I say, I've got, and as I was saying earlier, I've got this big collaboration in the works, closing date 12th of August, so if anyone's interested in taking part, you've still got a little bit of time. Please message me on social media, Instagram, Twitter, Discord if you're on Discord. Where else? If you follow me on Facebook, you can contact me on Facebook. You can email me if you've got my email address. You know, it's going to be it's a big project that I've worked really hard to put together, and you know, I've been promoting it a lot. I will admit I've been promoting it a lot, but that's only because I'm so passionate about it. It's something, and it's the end of an era really. After this, everything changes on the channel. I mean, I'm not giving up on Lord of War and Heartache. It's just that the changes that are going to occur are how I approach Lord of War and Heartache. I'm going to take it to, you know, a new approach, and I think that's what it needs really. I need to look at I can reveal that I am writing a novel. I am attempting to convert it into printed word. I've got a story already in the works, and I think it needs editing. It does need a lot of editing, but I'm quite pleased with the way it's appeared and the way it reads. So there will be more on that later. There's a few other exciting things in the works that I can't talk about because it's not that I can't talk about them, but I don't want to talk about them just yet because it's all very sort of exciting times, and I don't want to sort of how should I put it? I don't want to spoil any surprises in the future because everything I do for you. You know, my subscribers, my viewers, my friends especially. And I think if I talk about it all now, you'll have nothing to look forward to. You'll have nothing to whet your appetite, nothing to stoke the fires of enthusiasm in your hearts and souls. You know, that sort of thing. You know, you've got to keep the passion alive. You know, the passion alive in your hearts and souls. That sort of thing. You know, the vibe, the get up and go, the thing that makes you feel good. I mean, there is one person out there who is in the know as to what's going on, but that's between me and them. So, and they know who they are, and that's all I'm going to say. To be honest, I'm not going to take that any further. Because I do have to hold on to some, you know, because if you all knew everything right now, as I said, you'd have nothing to look forward to. And I can't you know, the big thing for me at the moment is this collaboration, the last hurrah, which is sort of the end of an era for the Caravan project. Maximus is still going to keep going. He's still going to exist. He's a very, very important part of the world, and I can't get rid of him. He is me. He is the part of me that I don't want to get rid of him, because he is an integral part of the world. I mean, you know, he is my anti-hero now. He is pretty much the main character now. You know, forget the diplomat, forget the Yeah, well, it's the biggest. It's the big finale of the caravan. It's like a big party. I'm voicing several characters, including my first all-female voice, which was very interesting editing and very interesting performing as well. Obviously, I voiced Maximus. Rafik is back in the is in the story. Yeah, well, it all actually started with Chapter 7 of Lord of War and Heartache over, I want to say, about 2 years ago. And it featured, Chapter 7 featured myself, Jodie Marie ASMR, who else? Julie ASMR, formerly Sleeping Artist. She was Sleeping Artist at the time. In fact, for anyone interested, I will put a link to it in the chat, so that if you're watching this back, you can go and watch it back. And of course, later on in the sort of storyline, the troop disbanded, and Maximus, being Maximus, decided to make his own way and make his own fortune. Plus, it also was a good cover for his more, how should I put it, nefarious schemes. Now, if you know Maximus, you will know he is a schemer. He's not a very pleasant person to know. To be honest, he's the complete opposite of me, really, but it's fun because, sometimes the best characters to play in life are the villains. But he's not so much a villain anymore as an anti-hero. And there's a whole... In fact, I think I've got a playlist. Of the caravan. So if anyone wants to see the Troop Saga, that's it. Beautiful. There we go. This is all literally just the Troop Saga videos, not the entire Lord of War and Heartache, but it will give you some decent backstory, and I'll share it in the Twitch chat as well. So there we go, I've shared it in the Twitch chat as well. But some of it is, we've got the troop has arrived, which introduces us to the characters in Chapter 7. It's actually Maximus talking to an innkeeper, but it's the debut of Maximus. And then obviously joining the troop is where the diplomat, who is now a bit of a moot point character, a bit of a retired character, meets Maximus for the first time. Then we've got Maximus and Rafik, which actually introduces Rafik, the rogue. Exploring Cully doesn't directly feature the caravan. It's actually set after the caravan has left, but it still ties in with such characters. And then obviously we have the introduction of the caravan. The last stop also features a former member of the troop, Cassandra, played by Exploring ASMR. Then meeting the recruit is where the caravan story really starts, because that takes place, I can't remember, at Fort Titan. The caravan is actually where we actually discover a lot about the Ondarian monarchy, because it's also where we first experience Fort Titan, and it's also where we first visit Ondar City. So, that's very important, and of course Garalos. So a lot of the chapters that are in the video, in the playlist, are actually very, very integral to the story. Now, some of them you might watch and think, well, this doesn't really have much to do with what you're talking about, Matthew. If you don't know, that's my real name. Maximus is my character. If you've already fathomed, which I'm sure you have. But it's a really interesting concept, and it's been 4 years in the making. 4 years in the making, but the first videos for the project was actually 3 years ago, and the last video for it was 5 months ago. So it hasn't panned out exactly the way I thought it would, or kind of imagined or hoped it would, but I'm okay with that. I am genuinely okay with that, because you can't have everything. And I'm really grateful to everyone who has taken part and supported me and helped me bring this to life, and there's a lot of really kind people who have given me solid encouragement and true support throughout. No, I am honestly sorry, you won't have heard it, but my phone buzzed and I was just trying to figure out what it was. It's the continent of Monarcha. It's one of 15 continents. 8 continents. The origins of the world was 15 continents, but there's 8 major continents now. In fact, I can give you the names of the 8 continents, because I am writing an entire concise history of the Lord of War and Heartache. There were originally 15 supercontinents, according to legend, and the history of the world that I'm writing goes back 50,000 years to the rise of the Antaeus Empire, but the planet that it's set on is called Arenthia, Arenthi. I've actually given it a planet name, Arenthia. So that's something I've never revealed before. And the continents that we have are Era, Yra, Valaris, Zenthia, which is the largest continent, Drakara, which is also the continent where the dragons come from, Erindor, Phalathia, which is the second largest continent, Nithros, which is the forbidden continent, more on that later, and Monarcha, which is the smallest continent and also the continent where the story takes place. And Monarcha is split into 5 provinces. The westernmost province is the Plagued Lands, also known as, if I can find it. Sorry, I'm going through my notes here. I have so many notes. I've got about 4 years worth of notes. Yeah, Nithros is the forbidden. Here we go. So you've got the Kingdom of Avalon on the provinces of Monarcha are in the far east. You've got the Kingdom of Avalon, which is sort of your Arthurian legend nation. I always think in a fantasy realm you have to have something at least Arthurian. Then you've got Cully in the east, the central province. The central province is split into 3 minor provinces: Cully, which is the desert realm, the Ondarian monarchy, which is the central province, and Juridia, which is also known as the forest realm. And then on the far east, that's it, Shadowmire, which is also known as the Plagued Lands. So it's full of plague and you know, you don't really want to go there. But it's also where the Sklade come from. They are like mutated humans, or, well, not so much came from, but went. They were actually created by the vampires, quite on purpose, when the vampires first took the city of Drevin, which is now the city of Necrotia, which is the vampire stronghold. And, you know, there's so much history. There's 50,000 years of history. I mean, I've got a full list of... I'm working on a full list of named emperors and empresses for the Antius Empire from 50,000 years before the current era and to 1,000 years before the current era. That's how long the Antius Empire stood. And then from 1,000 years to the present day, which includes the civil war against the Tyrant King, who plays a big part in my stories, even though he doesn't actually live any longer, but he is still integral to the story, or his crown is. You know, and I'm really, really passionate about everything that's I create. You know, I really do believe deeply in everything that I create, because it's... And the thing is, I can't do it on my own. The world is so big. The world is so big. I mean, I actually went through my image files today, and I have got overall... I did mention this somewhere. I did mention this. Yeah, I have got... so far, I've accumulated 20,786 location images and 7,580 character images of... So, you know, I either digitally created artwork or basically photographs, you know, holiday photos that I've taken of historical places or landscapes that all sort of form part of the world itself. You know, I mean, a lot of the characters that I've got were all digitally created. The only real person who appears as a photo it's nowhere big. It's nowhere as near as big as Africa. No. best way to describe it, how best to describe it? It's bigger than Greenland. It certainly is bigger than Great Britain. Nowhere near as big as Australia. When you when you think of the continents, think that the biggest continent in the world, see, I have to keep referring to my notes. I've got a whole Word document here that's open. Got a whole world here that I'm getting tongue-tied. Here we go. Xanthia would be the size of Africa and South America combined. So imagine those two sort of slotting together and becoming one continent. I mean, Valentia. Even I can't say it. Yeah, the planet of Arenthia is a big, big planet. You know, I would say that Monarcha would probably at least fit into Europe twice. It's surprisingly small, but it's very dense. It's very dense. It might be about the size of Europe, really. I've never really given that side of things much thought on the actual size of the continents, but Xanthia would definitely be the biggest. Is definitely the biggest of the continents, and I always had that in mind as being like a combination of South America and Africa, sort of like when they were when they were part of the supercontinents, really, because when you look at their shapes, you can see that they would have more than likely slotted together anyway. So that's how I visioned it. But Phalathia itself would probably be a bit more like Australia, New Zealand, you know, all the Australian islands and all the Australasian countries combined as well, making it the second largest. Until I actually... Yes, they do. The only continent that they don't trade with is Nithos, Nythos, because that is what is known as a forbidden continent. There's legends and myths that it's actually occupied by demons and sort of dark beings and things like that, and it's recorded that the only expeditions that ever go to Nithos. So let me just put the list of the 8 continents in the chat so you can see them. I'll do them. I'll put them into the I'll post them to Twitch as well so people can see what I'm talking about. So they're the eight continents of the project. and colour. Luckily. And I do intend to map them. I do have art tools that will allow me to create imagery of, if not the planet or the continents, at least the cities. But yes, all the continents know each other. Drakara is a bit of a tricky one because it's controlled by the dragons, and of course the history between the Ondarian monarchy and the dragons is quite fraught, considering the dragons have sided with the Tyrant King, and not to mention sided with the vampires as well. You can imagine that their presence is not entirely well tolerated. There's a saying in the Ondarian monarchy that you should never trust a Drakaran. Although their nation is actually also known as the Firelands, so it's a bit of a sorry, I'm just looking for a paintbrush, a suitable paintbrush for something. That will do. You know, it's Drakara is probably the one other. They will trade and send ambassadors, but it's very, very tense. 9 times out of 10, Ondarians tend to avoid the Dragonlands or Firelands for obvious reasons, because of the civil war with the Tyrant King and the dragons taking his side. So they're not very trustworthy in the eyes of the monarchy. Well, that's very kind of you, Alex. Thank you so much for joining. And if you're not familiar with Alex's content, please do go and drop her a follow here on YouTube, because she is a very, very talented and creative ASMR artist. I do highly recommend her content. So I've just posted a link, and I'll post that in the Twitch as well, so that people can see that as well. And I do also recommend following her on Patreon as well. Please, you know, if you are on Patreon or you're looking for a recommendation for Patreon, I do recommend following her over there. I'm just painting all the sort of white bits and tidying up all the other bits for metallics. No, I'd say Arenthia is very much like Earth. It has. I've never really focused on length of days or timings and all that, because it's not something I've ever really. Good night, Alex. I'll see you soon. I will be live streaming again soon. It's not that I'm going anywhere at the moment. I'm still going to live stream for a little bit longer. There's a lot of aspects I've never really covered about. I've covered more about the cultural heritage, the sort of aspects of the civilizations rather than the planet itself. I've only just sort of started to focus for this concise history that I'm writing, but the plan is, I think I always wanted it to have at least 2 moons. One, and this is going to sound unusual, but one that would appear during the day and one that would appear during the night. So there's always a moon sort of out during the day. And again, it's something I've never mentioned or never covered before, because I've never really known how to work it into the story. When you're a storyteller, you kind of focus more on the actual story itself rather than the aesthetics of the world around, and it becomes something else really. You sort of become used to focusing on the people rather than the world itself, and that's okay. That is perfectly valid. But sometimes you get to a point where you do realise you have to sort of talk about the world. I think by writing this new idea of mine, this sort of background that I'm working towards, I can expand on the story as I wish, without having to, for elements that haven't appeared sort of in the content I've created for YouTube. So I can sort of focus upon the sort of parts that I may have overlooked, and I think that's important too, because it's well, never say never. Never say never, because obviously I'm still sort of working on the finer details of the world, and I definitely think that the plausibility of it sort of having moons that have their own moons and sort of a disk of dust, definitely I think that would lead to some very interesting ideology around the world, belief systems and things like that. More than one moon, and with the moon orbiting, because we are talking about a very, very complex world. We're talking about a very complex imagination. My imagination. Anyone who knows me will know that my imagination is endless. Sometimes it's a bit what's the word, singular minded, but sometimes sometimes it's a bit singular minded, but again, that's okay. We all have our sort of focus, anyone who knows me on Twitter or social media will know I've been very, very focused upon this collaboration the caravan. It's something that's become very, very. Some might call it obsessive, but sometimes you just become passionate, and your passion sort of. Oh, this was one of the tracks I was thinking of doing. Let me turn this up so we can all hear it. But this was one of the tracks I was thinking of using to open the projects. I've turned it back down now because I've realised it's a bit louder than. But I think the subject, sometimes I think some people are a bit. I guess some people are a bit apprehensive about subject matter, especially with what this collaboration is about. Well, I am looking between you and, well, not between you and me because this is going public. I have been looking at including elements of steampunk into the world, and steampunk has already sort of edged its way in with the talk of the Sentinel project, which we haven't really covered much in recent months. But I guess this caravan idea of mine has become, don't ask me why I'm going to type this, but I think I just feel, put it in writing, I guess. When you're sort of I don't know why I'm typing this because I guess I just want it in sort of I guess some people do feel a bit sort of don't ask me why I typed it. I just felt it has to be said in words. Open and honest. I've never hidden that. I've always been very, very open about that. I've always said no ulterior motives or anything like that. Just truth. Just plain old truth. But, I have given people ample opportunity to approach me and talk to me and engage and talk, but nothing. That's what's disappointed me the most. No one's actually, the people who have joined me and helped me out, I'm really, 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 really grateful to. But there's a lot of people who have never. They've kind of sidelined me, I'm okay with that. At the same time, I'm all about engagement. I'm all about open talking and being honest and truthful, and I have never hidden anything from anyone, and I have never told anyone anything different, and that's what makes it hard when you sometimes you think to yourself, why do I bother? You know, that's the honest truth. You do sometimes think to yourself, why do I try and innovate? Why do I? You know, is it even worth me trying to innovate? And maybe the world isn't ready. Maybe the world isn't ready, and those who have helped me out and created what they have, I'm so grateful. It really does mean a lot to me. But the potential has been huge, and I'm not looking to be. Seriously, you know. I wish, I kind of wish some people would clip some of these things during these live streams and share them so people could see just how genuine I am. You know, 4 years is a long time, and it's a lot of hard work, and you know, as I said, everyone who's I'm removing that comment. Because I've said what I need. I've said what I need to say, and the fact of the matter is, you know, I look at me. I'm still painting because it's. I'm struggling to think of what I'm trying to say, and it's one of the few things that keeps me from going over the edge as a creator. You know, it's like a safety net. It is like a safety net, and I just don't know anymore. You know. You work so hard to bring an idea to life, to create something that you pour your heart and soul into. Of course. Where can I start? Well, of course you've got Ondar City, which is the oldest city, and it's actually built on the ruins of the capital of the Antiochus Empire, Aldara. Much more on that in the future, of course. And it's the oldest. It was first founded by King Thelonious I of the Ondarian monarchy. Who ironically was not an emperor. He was actually because at the time the Antiochus Empire had fallen, so you know a lot of people in power were sort of taken down at the fall of the empire. And Thelonious was sort of the first to get control, so he became the first monarch, and he ordered the construction of a new city on the ruins of the old, and of course because of that, Ondar City was founded and became the centre of governments for the Ondarian monarchy. And his name wasn't Ondar. No one knows his surname. Where the name Ondar came from really is not really known. I like that. I like doing that for history, because it means people can write their own theories. Yes, that's it. That's exactly it. For 50,000 years, the Antiochus Empire actually did control the whole of the continent. And if I can find the timeline again, because I've got the timeline here as well that I wrote. I mean, up till before the Antiochus Empire, there were lots of proto-empires that rose and fell and are of very, very little significance, because they never really kept a written history. But there's evidence of proto-empires, and many believe that the Calvari are the remnants of one of these proto-empires. But anyway, the Antiochus Empire had 5 provinces, which had very similar names to they had 5 governable provinces: Avalara, Shadmara, Kalaneth, Joiria and Onaris. And it's possible that Onaris was where Ondar came from, but originally it was just one big empire that ruled over the entire continent, which it did very successfully for about, I want to say, about 35,000 years. It all started to fall apart about 1,500 years before the inevitable fall of the empire. It really did collapse, started to really collapse about 1,300 years before the rise of the Ondarian monarchy. There was no civil unrest. That's the interesting thing. The Antiochus Empire was very, very prosperous for millennia. It traded with all the other continents and had a very good diplomacy. The law about not exploring the continent of Nithros actually goes back to the Antiochus Empire, because they were the ones that discovered its dark and foreboding sort of atmosphere. I mean, it's a very, very, no one actually ever really recorded what they found there, but it's known as the Forbidden Continent, because they believe that there's something very evil lurking there. And I'm just trying to find some steel. There we go. And they do believe there's something very evil lurking there. Which is why you'll always find the vampires present. The vampires will always have a presence on the continent of Nithros, but the Antiochus Empire closed off all trade routes to the continent, because its empire, the empire or the civilization that was present there at the time, fell very, very quickly. But at the time, the Antiochus Empire was the most successful of all the civilizations. Not because it was powerful, but because it was start again. Very well governed. The emperors and the empresses were very popular with their people. They knew how to sort of not control the populace, but they knew how to appease the population and keep a level of peace and prosperity without ever sort of undermining their own authority. it was quite a very successful empire. It only started to fall after a series of great plagues. That there were a number of sort of problems that started to arise. I mean, you did get political infighting. I mean, what sort of ancient civilization never went without political infighting? That was the sort of thing. But it did control the entirety of the continent up till the empire finally fell. By the end, though, a lot of the cities were self-governed or completely abandoned. Aldara, which became Ondar City, was actually completely abandoned for about 200 years before Ondar City was even founded, and the capital was moved to the city that is now known as Garalos. So, they completely rewrote the rulebook near the end of the empire. But even Garalos spent a couple of centuries in complete ruin in the end, because Avalon, with its capital city Lioness, which is the sort of very chivalrous, sort of Arthurian inspired nation. Shadowmire, which is also known as the Plagued Lands, where a lot of which is actually because it was cursed centuries ago into the main event. Then, of course, you've also got the three provinces of Colette, Juridia, and obviously in the centre, the three provinces that form the Ondarian monarchy were always known as the Central Province. So they were three minor provinces, but they were always grouped together in the Antaeus Empire, and the monarchy did the same thing. It's just that after the fall, the Desert Realm gained autonomy, as did the Forest Realm. And that's better. That's what I'm looking for. So the three realms were only sort of reunited again under singular rule of the monarchy 600 years prior to the current era by the Tyrant King, because he invaded. The Desert Realm, for example, Colette, gets its name from the town of Kali, which was one of the micronation capitals. The Desert Realm actually became a group of micronations, each ruled from a singular city. And you've got Kali, which was at the time a city, reduced to a town. Malakut, which again was reduced to a town. Vod, Haknot, Netska, again all cities reduced to the size of towns by the Tyrant King so that he could control the entire province from the city of Gebelra, which is the biggest city and the most powerful. So Gebelra became the governor's city, and it still is to this day. But of course, because of that, the other cities fell into ruin, and they are now very much just a shadow of their former selves. And of course, from that rose, ironically, saying shadow, rose the Shadow Court, which is the most powerful criminal organisation in the entire Ondarian monarchy. I'm just painting everything metal that I want to paint metal, and once it's dry I will just tidy up the mistakes. But you know, keep those questions coming, because I'm really enjoying telling you about the history of this world. But yes, the Empire was very, very powerful, very, very influential across the entire planet. But in the end, it was a victim of its own success, and it fell. Well, it fell very, very quickly to its own. You know, it became its own worst enemy, really. It didn't fall to invasion, it didn't fall to, you know, attack, but it became too powerful, and its leaders became too greedy, and the Empire fell into rack and ruin, and so did they. Really, it was its own people, it was the decadence of its leaders that caused the Empire to collapse, because it couldn't afford to keep itself that is not something. No, the magic in is, there's the 5 types of magic, but they are universal to all 5 realms, so they don't fall in line specifically. Some is used more prolifically in, for example, in the desert realm, you'll find love magic is much more aligned to the desert realm, for example, and where's that green? There we go. What else? Was that it? Ah, no, there it is. Get some tidying up done now. So you've got the 5 principles of magic. You've got deception magic. Oh, I forgot what they were now. I need to find that picture. I've got a picture of all the, again, notes. If you can't remember, always make sure you've got notes, and always refer to your notes. That's the important thing. And that's the secret. Always find your notes if you can find them. Yes, that is correct. There are 5 types. I can remember it's deception, love, vocal, because it was all tied into the academy in Kali as well. maybe it's not this folder. Isn't that awkward when you can't find what you're looking for? I do apologise, bear with. They did, because the five names of the teachers gave the initials, their initials to the word magic. So they came up, you know, they sort of gave the. If I can't find it, I can't find it, but. We'll I can't seem to find it. Deception, love, vocal, audio, and there was a fifth as well. That's right, yes. It was all to do with the Academy and its founding. I can tell you a bit about the Academy. I don't know why I was looking at that camera, because that camera doesn't work. This camera does. I can always tell you a bit about the Academy. It was actually founded 5 years after the rise of the monarchy, when everyone was, when all magic users were banished from the monarchy. There was a situation that caused the monarch to become paranoid that magic users were after him, basically, and he had them banished. So they were all banished to the desert realm, which welcomed magic, and it was there that four of the founders came from the Ondarian monarchy, although 2 of them were born during the Antius Empire. And they founded the monarchy. The 5th one came along, and she was a dancer, because she was born and raised in the desert realm. I think she was also the youngest member of the Academy founders. So she was a desert realm performer, as we also call them in the story, and she was already au fait with love magic, so it was always something that was very profound in. Hello. It was always very profound in the desert realm to begin with. I think it's because the desert realm is often a place of intrigue and romance and, you know, that sort of of sort of situation. Well, it's funny you should say that. I've been toying with the idea. I have been toying with the idea because I do think that would be... I mean, the Ondarian monarchy itself doesn't really have an academy because obviously you've got the city of Taros. Was it the city of Taros or the city of... No, Cordavia. City of Cordavia is the city of scholars, but you've also got the Merchants Guild, the Mages Guild. So you've already got some resemblance of balance there. That's not to say, however, found the 5 things of magic: deception, focus, love, resonance, and vocal. That's it. So deception, focus, love, resonance, and vocal. And each... I do agree, though. It's something I've been thinking about because I think that would be interesting to build upon, and I don't quite know how it would work for Shadowmire, but I think they'd probably have their own sort of... I mean, you've also got things like the Shadow Court in the Desert Realm, which is like your Thieves Guild. They're the most powerful of the... I'm going to go back to... Right, that metallic is cleaning up nicely. A lot of the time with a lot of this painting, it's tidying up and repairing. Now we've got the metallics done. That's the hardest part out of the way. But you know, it's all part and parcel of the sort of the lore, and even after 4 years I'm still building and adding to that lore. You know, there's still so much to explore and still so much to expand upon. I mean, heck, there's so much lore you could even... Oh boy. Oh, that was lucky. No paint spilled. Sorry about that, we've just had a bit of a... Just had a bit of a slip up. Ooh. I think that's what you call... I think that's what you call damn lucky. There it is. Yeah, no problems, no paint spilled, no harm done. I am on a very lucky streak at the moment. I should consider myself lucky. Thank goodness I was wearing rubber gloves as well. See, this is why I've started wearing rubber gloves, because I mean, when you see how much paint is on them, it gives you a bit of extra protection. Where was I though? What was I saying? Yeah, I mean, you've got the Academy of Entertainment. Oh, and he puts his thumb in a load of black paint. It's fine because I don't know how well you can see it, but the lighting isn't very good because it's sort of directly above, but I think you can just about make out the metallics. Before that causes any more trouble. So, yes, well, the ruler of Avalon is actually Uther Pendragon. So, you know, the father of King Arthur. So, very much taking Arthurian legend directly for Avalon. Why not? And Shadow Maya doesn't really have a monarchy as such. It's very sort of tribal and very sort of tribal and what's the word? Rough and ready. It's the only word I can really think of. Okay. Next up, some skin tones. But I've never really focused on Shadowmire or Avalon as such, because we've never. It's not that they're insignificant; they are very significant, but at the same time, they're not integral to the story as of yet. They're not. At the moment, we're kind of focused on the central provinces because they have an importance of their own that works. That's not to say we're not moving into Shadowmire or Avalon. We very much are. It's just that at the moment, their story is not ready to be told. Well, it's more medieval European. It's much more medieval European, medieval Roman, bit of Greek, depending on which part of the monarchy you're looking at. If you're looking at towards the desert realm, you'll find that the cities closer to the desert realm have a much more Roman Greek influence. I keep looking. Oh yeah, it's because I'm looking at the questions. Have a much more Greek-Roman influence, but the further west you go towards the forest realm, you find they become a bit more medieval in appearance. The exceptions are Trigon, which is the Forge city, or the city of forges, where the Forge Masters reign. It has an autonomy, but it answers to the monarchy. The Forge Masters themselves are... It's very much Victorian steampunk, the city of Trigon. It has its own identity. It doesn't fit into the monarchy. As I say, it's autonomous to the monarchy, so it has its own governor, being the Forge Master, being the Grand Forge Master, which at the moment is Geoffrey of Trigon. He's the first human Forge Master, because most Grand Forge Masters, because most of them are dwarven in descent, so but the Forge Masters themselves are dwarven in ancestry. Oh, well, obviously you've got the Desert Realm, which was actually caused by during the Antis Empire, when mages, or dark mages, because they've always existed, cursed that region of the empire to become desert. Then you've got the Forest Realm, which speaks for itself, really. And I would say the central province, the monarchy itself, is very sort of rolling hills, a few, maybe the odd mountain here and there, lots of green pasture, sort of British countryside, European countryside, that sort of thing. Very picturesque. Summer, I think people want to spend their holidays, basically. It's not hot, it's not cold, it's very temperate. Again, that's more down to magic than the actual you know, the mages of the empire really manipulated a lot of the world around them. And again, this will all be covered in the history as well. So, and I think a lot of it sort of paved the way for the fashions, the styles. I mean, obviously, when you go into the desert realm and the sort of the cities that border the desert realm in the Ondarian monarchy, you get very sort of desert style attire, shall we say. And then further west you go, it becomes more European, you know, medieval European, medieval English, or medieval British, I should say. And then obviously once you get into the forest realm, it's very elven in its influence. So it's very sort of balanced, shall we say, very, very balanced. Perfect. Now, where is that contrast? Snakebite leather. Oh yeah, most of them are in the cities. Ondar is the biggest city. It has 20 districts. However, the first district actually doesn't exist. District 1 actually doesn't exist because it's the palace, so it actually doesn't count as a district. District 2 is where the headquarters of the City Watch is, and every city has a City Watch house now anyway. So I'm just doing leather work at the moment. Dwarfs. Mostly you'll find them in the city of Trigon, because that is a dwarven city. It's more steampunk than it is medieval. Forest realm, you'll find the elves most of all, or elven descendants. I'm just talking to someone on Twitch. Thank you for commenting. Yes, I will sit up. Basically, that's what I'm working on. I'm doing the leather work at the moment on the model. It's actually a interpretation of an Imperial Guard Rough Rider for Warhammer 40,000, and I apologise. The lighting in here isn't very good. It will improve. It will be improved upon soon, so people can actually. I know I've been doing it since I was 13 years old, and I'm 40 now. The big 40. I turned 40 about 3 weeks ago. I don't feel 40. Yeah, I am live streaming on Twitch and YouTube at the same time, so just so people know if I'm talking to other people. But where was I talking about? The world building that I do is very true about painting figurines. I love painting models. So going back to the question on YouTube, because I'm talking about my fantasy fiction world of my YouTube channel. Yes, it does have. I mean, obviously we've got vampires as well, who come from all walks of life. So they're not just humans. They do have elven vampires and dwarven vampires. We just haven't met them yet. We've also got the Sklade race, who are human mutants created by the vampires. And we've also got the Calvari, who we haven't really met yet. We've got Lycan. We've got... it's exactly the same as this, but it's Maximus Volkov, but there's an underscore separating Maximus and Volkov. So it's exactly the same as... Thank you, Easy Picking. That's actually a very good suggestion. I'm still learning. I mean, I've been using OBS for a long time, but I used to just stream on YouTube, and I've just recently got back to dual streaming on Twitch. So I'm getting used to the. I'm still sort of learning and getting used to the new setup. So. I can do that though. It should. I've still got a lot to learn, to be very honest. Still a lot to learn. But that's okay, because it's still... Yeah, I mean, as I say, I've got used to streaming on YouTube, and that's where I normally it's been a while since I've done Twitch, but I really wanted to get back in there and get my feed. I mean, I might also do some Twitch exclusive streams as well, which will be... Oh dear, have I can't tell. I'm trying to look at the camera, at the screen, to see if... I probably have got a bit of paint on my face, but the lighting, you can't really tell. I'll know for certain when I've finished. So I've done the leather work on his leathers, and that can dry. So up next I will do the Militarum shade. I have heard of Star Wars Legion, but I've not really heard of Warhammer. I've never really played it. I've seen it painted. I watch a couple of would help if I linked my I have seen it. I follow a couple of YouTube channels called Hobby Nights and what's the other one I follow? That's it, the Hobby Collab, who have painted them as well. So I am aware of the game, but I've always been a full Warhammer player, Warhammer 40,000, Warhammer the Old World. I've never really got into Age of Sigmar, I'll be honest. It's not that it hasn't appealed to me as such. It's just that, you know, I started playing Warhammer when it was still fantasy battles before the end times, and I'm glad I kept my army though, because you know, it means I've got my dwarfs from fantasy battles still for the old world, so I don't have to buy a whole brand new army, unlike some people who got rid of their armies and now sort of have to start from scratch. So yeah, I don't think the link has come through, but I do appreciate that. Thank you very much. That's very kind of you. I will check it out when it does come through, because obviously I want to be able to give everyone the best live stream experience that they can have. I think it is only fair that that everyone gets to experience the best that I can offer them. So any advice, any sort of help is greatly appreciated. Yeah, I was just talking about my my YouTube channel as well, and my project, because I have this fantasy world that I've built based upon it, and you know, it's something I'm really proud of, because it's been 4 years in the making, and I've got 267 videos dedicated to this world I've built. It's not going according to plan. It's not according to plan. Never mind. Well, I've still got a whole box full of models to paint. You know, I've probably got over 100 models to paint in different colours. But at the moment, I'm sort of focusing on sort of the thing is, it's so humid here in Great Britain at the moment that paint is drying pretty quickly, and that's a good thing. So that's looking all right actually. That's not looking too shabby. Not quite sure I understand that question about tracking and video or text. As I say, there's still a lot I have to learn getting back into all this. I had a long hiatus, but I'm a But as I say, I am very appreciative of all the support. Yeah, well, it's all part of my YouTube storyline, Lord of War and Heartache, and I've started writing a concise history of the world and the characters and the places that it's all set around, and the sort of lore and cities, and I mean I've got the history of the entire planet going back so far 50,000 years, and sort of all the sort of laws about the land, the sort of nations and things like that occupy it, and all the people and the races, and obviously you've got your sort of what's the word I'm looking for, standards. You've got your elves, your dwarves, your vampires, your werewolves, dragons, obviously. I always, it's got its fans, but it's also got new races and characters and sort of so got human mutants created by the vampires, who are very bitter towards the people who betrayed them, so they're called the Sklade, and they're very, very bitter towards their former friends and family in the Ondarian monarchy. Yeah, I mean it's not entirely there yet. I'm not too happy with that. I'll fix that up later. It's all there. It's all in place. It's just it's making sure that when it reads, it makes sense, and can people understand? I mean, it's all started out as a storyline on YouTube 4 years ago, and I've got 267 videos, including collaborations with other channels for it as well. So I'm really proud with what's been achieved in the 4 years since I started my YouTube channel, which I can quite happily put in the chat if anyone would like to if anyone would like to drop by and say hello. It's my YouTube channel anyway. And you know, I've had help from friends. We've had a lot of fun sort of bringing the world to life. I'm an amateur script writer and voice actor, so a lot of my characters are voice acted, but I write all the scripts. And some people do their own original pieces for it, and but some also perform the scripts that I write. And you know, it's given me, you know, it started out as a hobby during the COVID pandemic, and it gave me a sense of something to do. You know, it was something I enjoyed doing and always have enjoyed doing since I was a teenager, writing scripts. I mean, you can, if you ever caught sight of the very first script I ever wrote as a teenager, oh, blur. You can tell how far I've come as a script writer, even as an amateur. You know, because I wrote a lot of rubbish in my younger days. I wrote a lot of rubbish in my younger days. I won't deny that. But it kept me active, and you know, gave me something to think about and create. And I've made a lot of good friends through it. You know, I've actually made a lot of friends from all over the world because of what I've created. You know, and they've helped me, and I've helped them with their channels. And you know, it's really made a difference. You know, it really has made a difference for me personally as a content creator. And you know, when I talked many years ago, well over a decade ago now, about having a YouTube channel, I was actually told by someone that I'd be lucky because I'm so boring. I'd be lucky if I ever even got one subscriber. Well, joke's on them. I've got 834 subscribers on YouTube. And yeah, I know I'm not in the dizzy heights of the very highest echelons of YouTube. I'm not up there with the really big names, but I'm happy. You know, I'm doing what I enjoy, and that's what's important. You know, it's not about making big bucks and having big audiences. It's being able to spend time, you know, live streaming, talking to friends, making new ones. And that's what's important to me. It's not about, you know, I never went in for this, never started this with, maybe I did start with grandiose schemes of fame and fortune and all that, but the more you do it and the more you come to enjoy it, and you realise that you kind of just want to be there and share with everyone. You know, you get to a point where you sort of realise that there's so much more to this than just the possibility of fame, fortune, glory, whatever some people call it. In the end, it doesn't really matter. It's what you make of it, really. It's what you want from it. I think that's what's important. You know, it's I think if you want to just, I think you should just have the option to just create and see where your journey takes you, because not everyone is going to hit it big, and that's okay. As long as you enjoy what you do and who you share who you share your time with, I think that's just as important. I really honestly do. And as I say, with me, you get no pretenses, no airs, and no sort of upper echelon sort of. You just get what you get with me, and that's how I like it. That's how I've always liked it. Keep it honest, keep it real, keep it grounded. You know, don't fall into the trap that you're gonna become the big I am overnight. Believe me, I fell into that trap, and I learned a lot from it, from that error. But as long as you surround yourself with good people who keep you grounded, I think that's what's most important. That is what's most important of all. And I think on that note, I'm going to call it a night. I've been going for nearly 3 hours, which is the longest I've done in a long time. It's been but I would like to say to everyone who's joined me this evening, thank you many times over. It's been an absolute joy and pleasure to share this evening with you, and share a bit about myself, my creativity, my world, my ideas, my dreams, and I'm just sort of tidying away as I talk, clearing up as I talk. And it really does mean a lot to me to be able to share with you everything that means so much to me, and be able to talk with you openly and honestly and truthfully, and not give you someone who I'm not. I've always maintained the only time I've ever played a character on screen is when I'm voice acting, and that is the absolute truth. You just with me, it's what you see is what you get, and so thank you everyone for joining. And if you want to clip this on YouTube and watch, and share clips and things, please do. You're more than welcome to. Anything and everything on here is honest, open, truthful, and friendly. Thank you, and good night.